Good morning. Let's take a moment to look about the country that is in one of its most difficult periods and that sustained in the last year blow after blow. It faces with a financial gap unprecedented, with a budgetary problem, leadership crisis and lack of trust from the public in the leadership, and with a collapse of its deterrence towards one of its most bitter enemies. No, no, this is not Israel. I'm talking about Iran of February 2025. If we look in the last few months from Tel Aviv to Tehran, you see a weak country in financial collapse, some may say even on the verge of regime change. What we don't see so much is a country that is dealing with recalculating its course, because 2025 is going to be a year of decisive issues. In the next few minutes, I will take you into the meeting rooms of the high echelon of decision making in Tehran and see how they see the situation from inside. The year 2024 was one of the most difficult years for the Islamic Republic of Iran. How difficult? So difficult that the deputy president of Iran, the former deputy, compared its failures to the most difficult trauma they had, the Iran-Iraq War, and specifically to April 1988, where Iraq not only was able to reconquer areas that Iran took over a few years before, but by using chemical weapons. The height of its humiliation, the 45th anniversary for the Islamic Revolution, February 2024, Iran commemorated, crippled, but with self-confidence. So confident that on the 13th of April they dared to strike directly Israel. If you would tell me 20 years ago, more or less, when I started my romance with Iranians, that the leader of Iran will decide to launch hundreds of rockets and UAVs towards Israel, I would tell you that you have lost it. In May 2024, problems began. Let's remember what happened in the internal arena and regional. On 19th of May, President of Iran, Raisi, was killed when his helicopter crashed. Raisi was a relatively failed president, a bureaucrat with the charisma of a carpet, a Persian carpet, if you wish. But as far as Khamenei, his death was a fundamental issue, because Raisi had some trait which was total loyalty to the leader. In parallel, Iran slowly went into a financial crisis. If you would go to the money exchange in the bazaar in Tehran and you would give him a bill of $1, you would get for it 300,000 Iranian rial. If you'd go back this morning, you would get for this more than 900,000 Iranian rial, 3 times the amount. In the beginning of current winter, the Iranian leadership have pre-planned power outages after a year of neglect and lack of investment, totally crippled fundamental assets. You can compare Iran to a building for 46 years without renovation. It's still standing, but the walls are failing. The infrastructure is failing. There's mildew in the walls. This summer, Iran and its proxies got blows regionally. Hania of Hamas was killed inside Tehran. Hezbollah's leadership was decapitated in Beirut. Yahya Sinwar was taken out in Gaza. But the most significant blow they received in December 2024, the Assad regime toppled. In the days after the toppling of Assad regime, it was hard not to remember, with the words of a radical leader, Mahdi Taib, that said in 2013 that if Iran has to choose between maintaining Syria and maintaining Khuzestan, an oil-rich place in the Persian Gulf, they need Syria. And this is before we even spoke about other ramifications like Israeli strikes in Iran and return of Trump to power in the US. So when this is the picture, what do we do in a country like Iran where its president, Masoud Pezeshkian, is also a doctor? First, you create a deep medical assessment to see what went wrong and what are the symptoms. How could it be that after years where we built a wonderful network of proxies, we're left alone facing Israel? Qasem Soleimani certainly is rolling over in his grave. How could it be that after hundreds of UAVs and rockets that we fired at Israel, it still acts against us and against the resistance front that we established in the Middle East? Then we go to diagnosis, and most importantly to the remedy. But here, there's an argument among the politicians or doctors. The diagnosis of the more pragmatics in Iran is that Iran is in a slippery slope leading to an abyss. And so the remedy for them is to invest, at least in this phase, in solving the problems within, at home. It doesn't mean neglecting its allies, certainly not the nuclear program or rocket program, but the billions we should invest in failing infrastructure and air defense systems, and less in standing up Hezbollah and Hamas. Money for the neighborhoods, not for the resistance. And the Iranian economy has to be fixed with prices to be paid in the nuclear program. Like Hassan Rouhani, the former president, said in the 2013 political campaign, the centrifuges should spin, but it's more important that the economy spins. On the other hand, the diagnosis of the radicals is that these are temporary problems with fixable problems. And so the remedy is to recalculate the course, but without deviating from the main road and without giving up the revolutionary principles. Continued resistance in the region, death to the little devil Israel, death to the great Satan United States, and resistance to any giving in. In this rift or challenge between reformists and their rivals, there's only one that can decide, Ali Khamenei. The leader called the supreme leader, the representatives of the God and the Shia on earth. And Khamenei of February 2025 is older, maybe more ill, but decisions he still can make. And the zealous feeling he never left. Let's enter his shoes, or his plastic worn sandals, if you may, and try to see what he believes in. Do you invest in the finance market, in stocks? There's ups and there are downs. We may be pressured when our stock is on the decline and we are losing money. But you must always remember that at the end, there is a rise. This is just the way Khamenei sees the situation. He believes that Iran is now in another phase in the Islamic Revolution that leads to an historic change, changing from a unipolar order to a multipolar world order where Iran and the resistance fronts will fulfill a central role alongside Russia, China, and the global South. He also believes that you cannot trust the United States, and even if tomorrow morning Iran gives up its nuclear aspirations and puts all the centrifuges in containers and send them to Eilat, this will not change the American policy, and the United States will continue to act in order to weaken Iran on the way to reach the ultimate goal, regime change. And what's with the economy? Khamenei believes that the financial crisis we can solve with neutralizing the sanctions by resistance economy, and not necessarily with removing them. He also remembers very well the former leader Khomeini that was asked a short time after the revolution, how were you faced with the financial problems in Iran? And he answered, he says in Farsi, economy is for donkeys. And he added, We didn't do this in order to reduce the prices of watermelons. And still, when the pressures within and from without grow stronger, even Khamenei cannot neglect the issue that's most important, regime strength, the survivability of the regime. And he's getting close to the juncture where he will ask if remaining in power with paying a price of compromise or hold on to his heritage and pay the price of confrontation. 2025 will be a year of decision, not only for Israel and the United States, attacking Iran, not attacking Iran, but also for Iran itself. The pressure rises, the tension between moderates and extremists heightens, and Khamenei this year may be faced with a central question, Farsi again, drinking the chalice of poison. Will he need to compromise like his predecessor that in 1988, after 8 difficult years of war, was forced to take compromise, ceasefire, and for him, he said it was more difficult than drinking poison. Of course, it's clear now that his decision will have ramifications not only for the course of Iran in the next year. For the citizens of Iran, it will define if the Islamic Republic of Iran will succeed and reach its 50th year, with Khamenei or without him. For us, it may define if we are facing a year of calm relative or military strike in Iran. Thank you very much.